So for all types of residencies goes that they offer time, space and their network in exchange for the fresh energy and different viewpoint of the guest artists. I think this is also something that all residencies, maybe apart from the large ones like the Rijks Academy, have in common, that artists who come from abroad bring vitality and bring a new energy and a fresh viewpoint. So this goes for guest studios, artist-run spaces, but also for the policymaker who brings the artist into a certain area through residency. So it's this different viewpoint and the energy of the other that is believed to enrich your own situation. So summarizing, the Netherlands are characterized by a climate of varied opportunities which are embodied by these residencies. There are many different residencies and opportunities for foreign artists.
And then, so that is the part of commitment. The other thing is the organization of it, the organizing factor. Because you run it, you have to care for, well, for instance, the roof, it's the infrastructure itself, but also who do we invite? Is it an open application? Do we take in anybody who wants to come or not? You do make choices in what you offer in your hospitality. Maybe you can tell a little bit more what your choices are then?
Well, I mean, we select on the basis if we find the work interesting. We also try to find relations with what we're exhibiting at that moment, sometimes in a bit of a period of time, and in those months that the artist is going to be there. We don't consider ourselves like curators that we would have like a strong theoretical background. We just see work that we find also interesting in the basis that it develops in the space, like that people is invited to produce a work there. To also see the artist, I mean, for us it's interesting because we enter in an interaction with the artist as well, like we see a process, how they work, like their thoughts, their questions. And in a residency actually that's also very important because you are going to be with somebody for 1 or 2 months period, and for us it's actually very interesting.
So you go along with somebody who is there. You meet regularly. You for instance bring somebody to certain places, or you have him or her meet people that you think are interesting.
You adopt them.
You adopt.
You adopt.
Yeah.
No, but you were saying before that, of course, like hospitality and like so a situation has to be organized, and of course there is a minimum level of organization. I mean, of course, you have to arrange certain things, but I mean, when we invite somebody we find interesting, it's on our interest to talk to this person, to have dinners, to really spend time together, to listen, to get to know this person, like what is it that he or she is working from. So, I mean, that is on our interest to do. I mean,
yeah, it's a clear choice. You do that. Other residencies, they choose for, okay, we offer, and then we leave somebody, and which some artists like a lot. That's also possible.
That's something an artist can always, also in our space, can always choose to do that, of course. I mean, we have a building, we have an apartment, people are working there, the normal exhibitions that we organize are being built up or breaking down at the same time as artists are working there. And everybody can choose either to hide in the apartment and work there, or work in a separate guest studio, or work in our office or wherever in the space. I mean, it's not they can choose what fits their work best.
So hospitality starts with personal commitment, with devoting time, with devoting energy, attention, concentration, you name it, to other people. That's how it starts, and that's very important in our policy. And when it comes to supporting local art and artists, I think we don't run a residency program. I would never want to do it, because I think we should just, we should make it possible. That's the most we can do, because it's not in our interest. It should be because the personal aspect is so important. It should be run by the artists themselves, because they are personally motivated. They can personally motivate why they choose for particular artists or architects or designers to invite, and they can personally well, be a host and introduce people into the local system or the local climate. Or so we don't run a residency program as an institution.
What I would like is that every artist who arrives in our studio in the Bellevue Street is completely different and has a different aura around himself. And each time that studio is completely different as well. Even, and we have for 20 years the same furniture, the same table. I would love to have an artist do work about that. Because that other person who comes and wants to come to use your hospitality, they're always very positive. So it's not always, sometimes we have a person who says, well, let me work and I do my own thing, but that's hardly the case.
The answer I got, and I'm talking about 91, 92, well, you in the Netherlands are doing your job fantastic with the support of culture, but what is the lack in the Netherlands is the missing of artists and residencies, because all you Dutchmen want to come to the great residencies we have in the United States, but there's not a reciprocity, how do you say this? Reciprocity. Yeah, that word, okay. You don't have a system for that, because our artists can't come to the Netherlands. So I brought this up with the Dutch Ministry of Culture, I brought it up with all the foundations. So I'm very happy now to see that at least in the field of visual arts, there is a good number of residencies now. I heard about 50.
We are in the beginning, I must say, developing programs. We have some pilots at the moment. I'm in discussion with Maria, trans artist, and we're trying to develop some programs in the coming years. But as it has been said, it's mainly in the Netherlands in the visual arts at the moment, and we're trying to develop programs for performing arts as well.
And do you want to develop them because you really miss hospitality in your field of discipline?
I wouldn't put it like that we miss hospitality. I think hospitality is there. We're just missing the programs.
To organize it.
Organize it.
Yeah, but
and as Rijn said, when you compare it with the United States, we bring a lot of artists, also in the performing arts field, to the United States, also to other countries, but there is no reciprocity.
Because otherwise you get stuck in your own point of view, in your own little circle. And I think if you look at 1646, the reason that they, at least what I understood, the reason that they started to run this program was that there was not enough happening in Den Haag. And they wanted to bring artists from abroad in just to create this vital surrounding for themselves. And I think that's a really valid argument. I mean, there is something of your own, we were talking about this when we were preparing this talk. There is eigenbelang, I don't know how to translate that. It's your own interest, but it has a wider offspring if you organize it. If you organize this influence from abroad to enter your own space.
It is proven that artists in residence can be very good, because there's Professor Simon from Harvard who discovered 2 years ago, he did a survey on arts in residence, and it is that the neurotransmitters in the brains are growing. No, it really was a big thing last year in Yale, Harvard and Princeton. So exchange is so important that the brain is growing of the people. So they have changed the whole program, even with people who never go on exchanges, like bakers and butchers. They go to exchange programs as well.